I always love that jingle. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sonic Triple Trouble on the SEGA Game Gear. I am One Mouse Sheep yet again, and today we're going to be taking care of this latest game in my Let's Play series of the Sonic franchise. And yeah, as you can tell, Knuckles is back. This is Knuckles' first appearance into the Game Gear / Master System / 8-bit series of Sonic the Hedgehog games, where we have to yet again get the Chaos Emeralds, we have to yet again stop Dr. Eggman and his vile schemes. And why is this game called Triple Trouble, you might ask? Well, that's because we have actually got a new character appearing in this game, ladies and gentlemen. This game is the appearance of Nack the Weasel, or Fang the Sniper, depending on which country you are in. And as you can easily tell, just like in the previous game Sonic Chaos, we can choose between Sonic and Tails. However, unlike in Sonic Chaos, I will actually be showing off Tails every other level, primarily because he can actually get the Chaos Emeralds this time around. Yay! Oh, the excitement! But of course, this is basically the sequel to Sonic Chaos. This is called Sonic and Tails 2 for those who live in Japan. And Sonic's moveset is basically unchanged from Chaos. He still has his peel out, he still has his spin dash, and all that good jazz that we all know and love him for. But the big difference in this game compared to Sonic Chaos is the fact that this game has a completely different focus in terms of level design. Like, Sonic Chaos was really exploration focused, so it's all about finding 100 rings in each of the levels and trying not to get hit. This one is more traditional, if I should say so. We basically get from point A to point B in each of these zones, collecting 50 rings and finding a Chaos Emerald capsule in each zone. If we break that box, then basically we get warped to a Chaos Emerald stage where we get to deal with our newfound enemy, Nack the Fang the... Bleh, I'm gonna call him Fang, it's easier. Fang the Sniper. So, yes, there is that. And basically, for the plot this time around, people, basically Dr. Eggman tried to grab hold of the 6 Chaos Emeralds. Remember the 6. I don't understand, why don't they use 7 in these classic 8-bit versions? It's always the 6 emeralds in these, I don't know why. But he tried to collect all the 6 Chaos Emeralds, and he basically tried to fuel his Atomic Destroyer, which is basically his brand new base of operations in this game. Unfortunately, things went a bit awry, and the Atomic Destroyer, well, got destroyed. And basically the entire, all the Chaos Emeralds basically got scattered. So we need to go and do our thing to retrieve them and stop Eggman's schemes, what can I say. Now, of course, even though Knuckles hasn't really got that big a role in this game either, though I should say, even though he is in the game, he's more there as an interlude sort of character between different levels, but I digress. Anyway, get to 50 rings, find that emerald box, and a little swirly portal thing will pop up. Jump inside it, and we'll be warped into a special zone. And the special zones are handled quite differently this time around, because this time they are basically, well, in this one, the basic platforming challenges. We need to get from point A to point B in these areas by, well, as quick as possible before the timer hits 0 in order to fight Fang, I'm too used to calling him Nack, and I know he wouldn't really be called Nack if he was re-put into the franchise in this day and age, so I'm getting used to calling him Fang. Basically, we have to fight Fang at the end of each of these stages for the most part, and they're very fun special stages, you know, they're not all that bad. I do enjoy them quite a bit. However, there are more than one type of special stage in this game, which is a bit of a different change of pace than what we're used to in more Sonic games. In this one, we're going to do either the platform challenges like you're seeing right now, or a second type of special stage that I'm not going to spoil, but we'll see seeing pretty shortly into this video. It's pretty cool, what can I say? Although these special stages are they're a nightmare to platform through, because the way they're sort of designed, it's sort of designed in a way to try and annoy you as much as possible, because they have springs in the most inconvenient locations, they have bombs in the most inconvenient locations. They're a nightmare to get through, but hey, it's Nack! Hey, who are you? What are you doing? And unfortunately, Nack's a bit of an idiot, so he pushed a switch and blew himself up. Now, not every special stage will be as easy as this one. They do start to get a bit more challenging, and we'll eventually have to deal with boss battles at the end of these, but you know, it's a nice introduction to what we're going to get used to. And of course, in this game, there aren't 6 special stages, there are only 5 special stages we need to deal with. Even though there are 6 Chaos Emeralds in total, Dr. Eggman has the final Chaos Emerald, so, yeah, there's that. You know, it always confused me about getting a good ending in this game, though. Like, getting a good ending in this game, we basically need to collect all 6 emeralds from Dr. Eggman, but for some reason, I never understood why, because as long as we have at least one of the emeralds, we foiled Eggman's scheme, because he can't get that emerald off us, and that's always confused me. But moving on into Great Turquoise Zone Act 2, now we are playing as good old Miles per Hour Tails. And Tails has his abilities from the previous game as well. He has the ability to fly by pressing up and the jump button at the same time. He can spin, and as you can tell, there's actually a new power-up we can use by here as Tails, which basically breaks the cycling box, and we are able to fly across the skies and collect rings and what have you. Now Sonic also has this power-up that you can use, which is basically the same thing, except it gives him rocket shoes, and honestly it's actually a lot quicker to use as Sonic. You know, you can get a lot more distance as Sonic's version, even though it technically lasts the same amount of time. I think that's mainly due to the fact Sonic in general in this game is slightly quicker. And he's quicker to the point that you wouldn't notice it, but he is quicker. I know this because someone has to notice these things, I suppose. But for the most part, Tails controls just like Sonic. Tails is the same old fox we all know and love. What can I tell you? And my big issue with this Sonic game in particular, like I actually really do enjoy this one. It's actually a really good 8-bit Sonic game, but I don't like it as much as the previous 3 Sonic games on the 8-bit systems that we've played, for one very, very important reason. If you'll notice, the screen is actually really zoomed in, really close up on these characters. Now, when I played, did Let's Plays with the other Sonic games, you would have noticed that I played the Master System versions. There is no Master System version of Sonic Triple Trouble. There is no way to play this with a zoomed out screen, so all of my... Basically, this is my least favorite to play for that reason alone. And there are unofficial, like, mods and stuff, fan mods, that give you the Master... And they made a Master System version, basically. They ported this to the Master System unofficially. But, due to reasons, well, the big reason I'm not doing those for the LP is because I want to play the games as authentically as possible, you know? I want to show off the games as they are intended to be shown off. So, I'm not showing off the fan-made Master System version for that reason. Even though I have to suffer through this version, which is just a nightmare. But objectively, in comparison to the previous game, I do consider this one an improvement over Sonic Chaos over the long run. You know, it's still... It gets rid of a lot of problems that last game had. Anyway, moving on, we are now in the second special stage type. We are playing a plane and collecting all of the rings. Basically, we need to collect 80 rings in each of these special stages to activate the boss battle, and that's all she wrote. Honestly, this is really easy. It's really simple. It's actually quite fun as well, but I do kind of have a big issue with the plane. The plane is sort of really big, and the hitchbox is a little finicky. So, I do find myself missing rings and not being able to see rings coming up just due to the size of the plane and stuff. It's a little annoying, but it's not that big a deal. Anyway, collecting 80 rings, we now tend to fight off against Fang the Sniper, probably. Hey, I said his name correctly this time, huzzah! And, what's he got? Well, he's got a bouncy mech, I believe. Yes, a bouncy mech. Now, this is a really easy boss battle. All you need to do is jump on his head and continuously boop off the top of it until he explodes. You should not have any issues with any of these boss battles with Fang. They're all really easy battles, and I can't see anyone really having trouble with these. The normal bosses of the game are a lot harder. That's one thing, that's for sure. But I digress. We now have the second Chaos Emerald in our possession, which makes me all tingly inside. Oh my. Look at that, lovely jubbly. But yeah, this game is it's a very straightforward game. The biggest issue you're probably going to have while playing through it, though, is collecting the Chaos Emeralds, because, like I said, the screen is really zoomed in. It's got a lot of screen crunch in this game, so collecting like the first Chaos Emerald, for example, is one of the hardest in the game for me, because I had to bounce off of loads of treetops to get high into the mountainside. And the problem with that is, I can't see the treetops. So it's an absolute nightmare at times to get through, but you know, enough trial and error, I was able to get at it. And if anyone wants to try and play this game, I'd still recommend it. You know, this is definitely not a bad game, you know? It's still definitely up there as a really good, really fun platformer. So, I can enjoy that. But anyway, time to take care of the first boss battle of the game, and now we are going to be introduced to a brand new mechanic in this game. Basically, whenever you jump off springs normally, you don't have the ability, you don't roll. So what you basically have the ability to do now in this game that's been introduced is if you press the jump button in mid-spring jump, you'll be able to curl up into a ball in order to damage any enemies that may be in your way. And this is such a useful ability. I really do love this power. It's so useful, and we do need to know how to use this in order to beat this boss battle. Otherwise, we'll die because there's no rings in this boss battle. Now, later boss fights down the line will have rings, so don't worry about that. This is a very unique case. But, oh god, Knuckles, why? How does Knuckles have these traps set up? Also, yeah, it's kind of obvious that Knuckles, being the absolute moron that he is, got tricked by good old Eggman yet again by, you know, doing the whole, here, Sonic's getting the emeralds to try and take over the world. And Knuckles, like an idiot, believed him. Like, I understand why they sort of did that with Knuckles a lot back in the day, because Knuckles was really... He was meant to be isolated from people, so he just trusted people a lot more than he probably should. But, you know, you'd think that after the first couple of times of being tricked by Eggman, he would learn, oh, I should be careful, I should be wary of this guy, you know? But no, he continuously gets tricked. It's something we're going to see throughout the course of the entire series. Anyway, this zone by here, we are introduced to a couple of new things that we need to be careful of. First things first, that's the little arrow thing, just like in Sonic, the other 8-bit games, that's the checkpoint. But we have explodable bridges. We run across these bridges, they will explode. If the explosion catches you, that's gonna hurt, and that's no good. So you need to move as quick as possible to get through this. And it's a really easy stage actually to lose your rings in this one. So if you don't know what you're doing, be careful, you know, just continue, and eventually you'll get through it just fine. But I do advise to try and stick to the top route as much as you can with this one in particular. Actually, with a lot of the Chaos Emeralds, I just recommend staying at the top of the screen for the most part, because that's usually how you get to the ring capsules. It's usually where they're located, with the exception of, like, Turquoise Hill. Was it Turquoise Hill? Great Giant whatever the first zone was. The second act of the first zone was being like an exception of that rule. But anyway, I digress. Moving onwards now, we are actually in the third Chaos Emerald challenge. Like I said, there's only 5 Chaos Emeralds in the game that we need to collect, and we're on the third one right now. We're gonna be collecting these really quickly in this LP, which is a good thing, you know, it's a good thing. This game is a great deal longer than Sonic Chaos was, which I definitely appreciate, just because Sonic Chaos was like, that was a really, really, really short game, you know? At least, I think it was. I can't remember. How long is my LP of that? I think that was 2 parts in length. This one's 3 parts, so... yeah, it's a bit longer than Sonic Chaos, which I'm happy about. And, you know, it's still only a portable game, but... in this particular platform challenge, we do need to make use of these invisible blocks. They're very easy to figure out where they are. Just be a bit careful. And during the course of each of these special zones, you do have access to loads of time capsules that you can break, time boxes you can break, which will give you more time. Duh! And I recommend going after them whenever physically possible, just to gain a bit extra time on your, on your timer, you know? You don't need to go for these things, but, you know, if you know where to go exactly, you don't need to go for the time capsules, but I personally recommend it to you anyway, just because it'll make things a lot easier for you, it'll make things a lot better. But anyway, that was Nack's machine. I didn't even get a chance to explain it. He dives at you, just boop him, he explodes, and Nack is dealt with yet again. I keep calling him Nack, his name is Fang, goddammit. Why, get it right. Yeesh. But yeah, there's the third Chaos Emerald, whoop-de-doo. And, yeah. Bet you all happy that Tails is getting some screen time in this one. I know I am. I like Tails. You don't see much of Tails these days. He's one of those characters that sort of de-evolved throughout the course of the franchise, because, basically, ever since he went 3D, he had like a couple of attempts in 3D where he actually did stuff, like basically up until Shadow the Hedgehog. Then after that, he dropped off the face of the earth and he just became this background character. And I don't know why it annoys me. I mean, to look at him here, you can spin dash, you can fly. In these classic games, you could choose Tails, and he's just as good as Sonic. You know, you could use him as a replacement of Sonic, and in some ways even better than Sonic due to the flight. You know, it's basically I want more playable characters, goddammit, in this franchise again. You know, you don't even need to make the characters too different. Just make them like Sonic with an additional move. That's one thing I've never understood about Sega. They recently, whenever they tried to do alternate characters, they just changed the gameplay style drastically. You don't need to do that. Just take Sonic's gameplay and add like a move, replace one of his moves or two of his moves or something. There you go, done. New character, easy peasy. But they don't really seem to do that. Anyway, yet again, take the top path, and whenever you reach a certain point, spin dash jump off the ramp, and you'll be able to reach this Chaos Emerald again. Now, this Chaos Emerald by here is actually the exact same as the second Chaos Emerald, although I would argue this one's a bit easier to do. If only because it's easier to see. And obviously, it's easier to do the second Chaos Emerald as it is anyway, due to the fact I don't know how you can fail this. Like, I don't know if there's an end point or a cut-off point, because I've never failed these mini games before, these special zones before. But, yeah, it's just easier to see the rings coming, just due to the black background and what have you, and yeah, there is that, which I'm happy about. I do like how you also get, different sprites depending on which character will enter the special stage, which honestly you'd think would be normal, but you never know with some of these developers, some of these games. This is a low-budget Sonic game, you know, after all. They could have just cheaped out with the sprites. They're like, no, we just make a generic plane. But no, they did sprites with Sonic and Tails, which I appreciate. Although, one thing is kind of bugging me. Sonic, stop looking at the camera. Look at the way you're flying, you pleb. Seriously, he must have eyes in the back of his spines or something, because he just keeps staring at the camera. But I digress. Anyway, it's time to deal with Fang yet again. And this time, Fang is sporting a missile launcher. Oh, yay! Now, this missile launcher will just float back from the left and right of the screen. All you need to do is continuously boop Fang while dodging the missile launcher. There's Sean Connery in here. Dodge the missile launcher whenever you can, and just continue booping him in the head. Eventually, his lock-on targeting system will freak out, and the missile will just explode him in the back, and he goes down like nobody's business. You know, I'm actually surprised we don't see much of Fang in this series. Like, he's disappeared off the face of the earth practically after this game. Like, he has one appearance in Sonic the Fighters as a playable character, and that's it. I don't know why they never utilize these characters, like give them personalities, you know, use them in modern games. It would be nice, because there's such a big catalogue of Sonic characters they can choose from to do things, you know, there's no reason for them to not reuse some of these characters later down the line, but yeah, they never do. It's always confused me that. Oh my god, this music. I love this soundtrack. Honestly, the soundtrack of this game is phenomenal, and as you can tell, this zone by here actually transitioned into Act 3. We are now in Act 3, folks. And this is really weird, because this is the only zone in the entire game that does this. No zone after this does this. I don't know, I love it because it's just so... I think it's just because of the music, it has that good build-up, but... I just find it strange this one level has a transition compared to the others. And this is an easy act, this is a very easy act here. All you need to do is jump. I kid you not, that's all you need to do, jump, and maybe manage how far forward and back you go with the left analog stick, with the D-pad, you know? So, it's easy. It's really easy. Just boop the mooks as they come nearby and dodge any holes that show up in the train that you're running on. Yes, this is a train. There's the boss battle to prove it. And when you get to the end of the boss arena, basically whenever he goes to the right of the screen, he's going to fire a shot. So jump over the shot, boop him, and a couple of hits, he goes down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Definitely not a hard boss battle. Definitely quite easy, in fact. It's one of the easiest bosses out there. But that is it for this part, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed, don't be sheepish, and I'll catch you all next time as we continue onwards with the triple adventure fun goodness. I was trying to think of a witty banter way to end the part. I couldn't think of one. So yeah, I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching. See you after. Bye!